Anyone who has seen Jackass remembers a group of guys doing impossible stunts and playing rough pranks on each other while having a blast. But behind the scenes, there were a lot of injuries and a fair amount of stress. Bam Margera was one of the original members of the Jackass series, starring on the show since its beginning in 2000. Now, over 2 decades later, he has been fired from the 4th Jackass movie for his ongoing substance abuse problems. Although fellow Jackass cast members say this is for his own good, Bam is extremely upset at the situation. He says his issues are only deepening because of him getting kicked off the movie, and a complicated lawsuit has started between Bam and Jackass creators Johnny Knoxville and Jeff Tremaine. How did such a successful gang of friends descend into fighting and feelings of betrayal? And what is the story behind Bam Margera's drug problems? Well, let's dive in. Bam was born Brandon Cole Margera on September 28, 1979 in Westchester, Pennsylvania. He grew up with his brother Jess and his parents, April and Phil. Bam did not earn his nickname from the Jackass set. In fact, he earned it much earlier. From his grandfather, in fact, who noticed 3-year-old Bam running headfirst into walls. Brandon became Bam Bam, which was then shortened to Bam by his schoolmates. Bam went to Westchester East High School and hated every minute of it. He says the only reason he kept going to school was his friendship with actor Chris Raab. Nevertheless, Bam dropped out after finishing junior year after Chris got expelled. He got his GED later on, more from necessity than desire. What he really wanted to do was skateboard and get in all sorts of trouble. And while it may be hard to believe, his dad Phil seemed more to enable Bam's behavior than condemn it. In an episode of Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn, Bam and his mom April talked about the horrible pranks that Bam's dad would play on him. One of the worst pranks for Bam was his dad driving him down Incinerator Road, a spooky forest road that his dad had Bam believe was filled with zombies. He'd take the kids and he'd put his arm out the window and bunk of the roof, you know, saying it was dead people falling on the roof. And it really affected him. Years of his dad hiding behind doors and jumping on Bam while his mom was at work added up to a general agitation and anxiety that Bam carried with him throughout his adult life. And these didn't just lead to some very funny reality TV pranks, but to an alcohol and narcotics dependency that Bam keeps returning to.
What is it?
He's got well-documented issues with substance.
On Family Therapy with Dr. Jenn, Bam blames his dad Phil for enabling his substance abuse, and at one point in the episode, Bam's mom confronts Phil about it.
We are both damage control, you and I.
Bam's dad admits to walking on eggshells every time Bam is under influence, as he is worried about what Bam might do if he confronts him. Bam's problems started at the same time as his television fame. Between 2000 and 2002, the Jackass series aired on MTV and became an instant sensation throughout America. It was funny, loud, hard to watch at times, and the cast members would often put themselves through very dangerous stunts, earning themselves horrible injuries. The show was actually criticized at the time for encouraging life-threatening pranks and stunts. While the tight-knit group of friends seem to have a great time pranking each other, there is a logical amount of stress behind risking your life every episode. For Bam, the solution to reducing stress was more drinking. My job is to do dumb Jackass shit, and the more shots of Crown Royale I do, the braver I'd be. Drinking helped me get paid. After the series ended, Jackass morphed into a long list of movies. Jackass the Movie, Jackass 2, 2.5, 3D, 3.5, as well as many spin-offs, such as Bad Grandpa, Viva La Bam, and Bam's Unholy Union. While rising to worldwide fame, Bam's substance dependency would only get worse. His fellow cast member Steve-O would engage in the same self-destructive behavior, but in 2008, his situation got so serious that his crewmate Johnny Knoxville organized an intervention and brought 7 people to Steve-O's house.
They showed up to simply inform me that I was gonna get help.
Before he was committed to a psychiatric hospital, Steve-O's general attitude was bad towards everyone in his life, all because he was always very drunk and subsequently unhappy. While he was recovering at the hospital, he realized that he needed to change his behavior completely if he was to keep his friends and family close. Ever since 2008, Steve-O has been sober and proud of it. Unfortunately, this is not the case with Bam. 1 year after the intervention on Steve-O, Bam was taken to the hospital by paramedics and state troopers after he had gone through a 4-day-long drinking spree. He had drunk little to no water and had hardly eaten. His kidneys were affected, and even his leg muscles were not functioning properly. In December 2009, Bam entered rehab for the first time, after Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O organized an intervention for him. However, Bam left the program after only 4 days. 2010 was a relatively quiet year, and Bam went in and out of his heavy drinking habit. However, 2011 was the year that tragedy struck. On June 20th, Ryan Dunn, a Jackass member and close friend of Bam, died in a car accident while he was under the influence. Around this time, Bam lost control of his drinking and stopped caring about the consequences. 2012 saw Bam's long skateboarding career come to an end after he gained weight and developed bone spurs. This led to a continuous feeling of boredom and an even greater desire to drink throughout the day. Mariel Loveland of Nicki Swift magazine comments, "He was in so deep that getting diagnosed with early pancreatitis did not serve as a much-needed wake-up call." Bam would start his days by drinking a few shots of vodka and purple Gatorade. He says he would only feel normal after drinking the equivalent of 4 beers. And this wasn't the only problem he battled during those years. Bam secretly struggled with an ED for years. This was his solution to offset the calories consumed while constantly drinking. And once again, he cites Jackass as the main influence towards his disorder. He had learned to throw up on command for the tequila stuntman on Jackass. "I think the reason I started throwing up was because I learned how to do it on the show." In fact, instead of losing weight, Bam ended up ballooning up to 230 pounds, which added to the everyday anxiety he felt. He was in a vicious circle. He would drink to keep up with Jackass. The drinking made him more anxious. He kept drinking to tone down the anxiety. Then the problems with Jackass appeared. Not only was Bam unhealthy, but he was always fighting with the Jackass producers and crew members. His colleagues insisted that he needed to go to rehab and stop his drinking completely to keep going with Jackass. In 2018, Bam was arrested for driving under the influence, and that felt like a final wake-up call. He checked himself into rehab. Bam was sober for 7 months following rehab. Then a horrible event shook him back to his old habits. He was traveling alone in Colombia when a taxi driver put a gun on his lap and told him something in Spanish. Bam didn't speak Spanish, so the driver used his phone to translate the phrase, "Empty your wallet." So I did, and I had $500. They let me go. That was weird. Welcome to Colombia. That night, Bam decided to have a couple of beers at the hotel room to calm down. This was the beginning of the end of Bam Margera's career. In 2019, Bam hit rock bottom and turned to Dr. Phil for help.
Exploded. Like, it was just everything at once. I never have had.
Bam had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. He had a nervous breakdown and even contemplated taking his own life. The only thing that kept him going was his newborn son, Phoenix. I had such a mental breakdown that I really thought I could just go to the light and be free. The pain was gone and I had to beg for pain back. I was like, please just give me back my pain so I could stay because I want to be with him. Following the Dr. Phil episode, Bam went to rehab once more and began healthy habits such as yoga and cycling. Then you can imagine how shocking it was when he found out the Jackass crew kicked him out of the new movie. In February 2021, it was announced that Bam wouldn't star in Jackass 4. According to IGN, this was because Bam had violated the terms of agreements with the producers. Apparently, he was supposed to take routine sobriety tests, take his medication, and see a psychologist during production. It's still unclear exactly what happened between Bam and the others. According to Viral Visions, Bam tested positive for Adderall, but he claims he was taking Adderall to treat his anxiety. That is why Bam is feeling betrayed by his crew.
Jackass has betrayed me, abandoned me, rejected me.
Bam particularly feels betrayed because Jackass 4 is using many of his ideas. This year, his Instagram had been an outlet for his frustration with the Jackass crew, especially Tremaine and Knoxville. To one of these posts, Steve-O commented, "Bam, the 2 people you're saying wronged you are the same 2 people who organized the intervention which saved my life. Steve-O insists that the gesture of kicking Bam out of the movie is filled with good intentions, those of saving his life. After posting, then deleting a 10-minute alcohol-fueled rant on how he felt betrayed, Bam commented that he was going crazy and that he was planning to visit a bipolar specialist. He wants to deal with his issues, but the current situation with the Jackass family is not helping him at all. On August 9, 2021, Bam made his frustrations official by filing a lawsuit against Tremaine and Knoxville, as well as against Paramount Pictures and MTV, saying he was wrongly fired from Jackass 4. What's worse, he says, is that the production team made him enter a 90-day rehab program on his own money, only to fire him afterward.
I just spent $90,000 in a rehab for 90 days.
Bam's suit against Jackass states that he was made to endure psychological torture in the form of a sham wellness agreement, which was then terminated due to his medical condition, not substance abuse. As Bam talks about the betrayal, Johnny Knoxville says, "We want Bam to be happy and healthy and get the help he needs. We tried to push that along. As this situation just seems to keep going, we're hoping for positive news surrounding Bam's mental health and friendship with the Jackass crew." We've come to the end of the video. We hope you liked it. How do you think the situation will pan out between Bam, Johnny, and the other Jackass cast members? Do you think staying off the show will help Bam get his life back on track? Let us know what you think in the comment section, and before you go, don't forget to click the like button and the bell sign so that you won't miss another video. And thanks for watching.